For the uninitiated, White Man Can't Jump is an early 90s movie starring Woody Harrelson and Wesley Snipes. A beloved classic for me, a film that I grew up on that I love to rewatch occasionally, had a lot of energy and a lot of style. It really kind of kickstarted the careers of both Woody and Wesley. They had both done stuff before that and they had their names out there, but they came together and they obviously had chemistry. The two even went on to go and partner again in another movie called Money Train in the mid to late 90s. Not necessarily a great movie, but a movie I love to rewatch. It's just, sort of affectionate for me in that way. And so we found out a couple of years ago that they were going to be doing a reimagining slash remake of White Man Can't Jump, which I think certainly made us question as to why. But it was also going to be directed by Cal Maddock, who was also shepherding another remake that just recently came out that we reviewed at the top of this year in House Party. So Cal Maddock has kind of become the guy to take these late 80s, early 90s projects and sort of bring them to life for a new generation. And this movie just had a release on Hulu and was distributed by 20th Century Studios, if I'm not mistaken. But we both got a chance to check out this movie just as it premiered the past couple of weeks on Hulu. So with all of that out the way, man, I will pass it over to you. What are your thoughts on White Man Can't Jump?
This is a prime example why we just need to stop remaking shit. I don't know why we're here. Like first House Party, now that I just what are we doing? Long story short, this movie does not have something very important in it. Wesley Snipes and Woody Harrelson, who are like, they are actors. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. It's something different about their energy in the original White Man Can't Jump that just feel better than this. And this isn't, I don't hate this. Don't get me wrong. I do not hate this movie. But it just doesn't add much of anything. You know what I mean? It just doesn't add much of anything. They try to change and switch some stuff up. And a lot of it is just how can we, I don't know, how can, it's just a bunch of throw up on the screen for the most part, for a lot of the movie. I found myself laughing a couple times. Don't get me wrong. Like there's a couple time moments I was like, okay, that was funny. Okay, that was funny. And they try to make it like very 2023, very new age. Like Jack Harlow, Loki is like a hipster, right? Like he does very like white boy, but like he's down with the cause kind of type things in this movie. And I understand that point of view, but I feel like they actually touched on a story with him and with Sinqua Walls, right? I feel like they did touch on the story and there was something there, but they never really get into it, or they never really say like, here is the problem and this is the solution between these characters. It's just like, let's do a thing. Okay, we're gonna go play basketball, and then that's the movie. You know what I mean? And it sucks though, because again, they do kind of give you a glimpse of like, oh, this could be a different story. Because the difference is, I don't know if this is a spoiler or not, but whatever, this movie's not good. The difference is like Woody Harrelson could play basketball in the original. In this one, technically Jack Harlow's character is not supposed to be playing basketball because his knees are messed up. And I'm like, I like that difference. How do we talk about it? And they kind of don't. They just kind of like gloss over it. And so I think that's frustrating for me when you present a good idea and then you just like let it go. It's the weirdest thing to me because you had it in the palm of your hands and then you just didn't do it. It's really frustrating. But again, I don't hate this. It does enough for me to say I wasn't mad that I watched that. It's just like a background, the TV is on kind of movie kind of watch thing. And yeah, these remakes just gotta stop. This is exhibit A, B, C, D of like we have to stop here. And maybe don't get me wrong, we know there's good remakes, but the ones that have come out recently are not it. Especially when you touch in like the classic of classics, like you said, White Man Can't Jump was just a household staple, especially in a lot of Black households. It's a movie you watched. You know what I'm saying? And you come in here, I'm expecting something else, and they don't really give me something else with this film. So yeah, it's unfortunate, but yeah, I hope if they keep making remakes, I hope somebody figures it out. You know what I'm saying? I hope somebody figures it out.
I don't have I don't have much to add about White Man Can't Jump. I will just say this. This movie is unimaginative. It does not add anything new. I can't even call it cash grab because it's on streaming. Maybe they designed it to go to the movies so that people could just like buy a ticket, but it ended up on Hulu. So what cash is going to be made from this? Probably nothing. And it's corny. It just feels cheap to just go back to the well on this type of film where that one that came out in the early 90s is still good. It still holds up. Of course, like there's a few cultural things that are different that have changed over time that this one tries to address and tackle, but it just does not do so in a successful way. And this is lacking that incredible chemistry that Wesley Snipes and Woody Harrelson had. And also let's not forget Rosie Perez, who was also
Oh
amazing
man.
in White Man Can't Jump in the early 90s. Like
Yes.
she was incredible, you know. So I think
Mhm.
it's just missing all of those elements that just make that one such an electric movie. And I really enjoy basketball movies. And like, you know, even Woody Harrelson is like, he's a true basketball fan. And Wesley Snipes like could play basketball. Like these guys are like really in it. And you come into this one and you just don't feel any of that energy. You don't feel any of that
Mhm.
type of style and substance. And, you know, Cal Maddock, I mean, he's a young director who's made a lot of music videos, but for him to come with this back-to-back house party, White Men Can't Jump,
Oh boy.
sort of duo of films in this year alone, and they both are just bad. I'm just like, yo, can we not do this? And my guy, like, I want to see you succeed just as like a black director, but like, can you tackle some stuff that's going to be a little bit more interesting, a little bit more worthwhile to explore? Maybe something
Mhm.
original might be the way to go. So that's all I'll really say. I just didn't like this movie. I think it's a bad movie. I would not recommend it. I do want to ask you like kind of a fun question. We are seeing a lot of remakes, and in particular, the sort of black urban classics from the 80s and 90s are starting to like catch a stride in terms of being remade, unfortunately so. What is one movie that you like forbid Hollywood from remaking? We have gotten House Party and White Men Can't Jump this year. There's probably some other ones that I'm forgetting, but like, what's a black movie from your childhood that if they were to announce tomorrow we're remaking this, you would just be completely like, nah, fuck this. Like we're out. We cannot allow this to move forward. It's not worthwhile to try to go down that territory.
Paid in full. Not even close. I'm throwing hands if y'all decide to make Paid in Full, bro. It's one of my favorite movies, and it's just I refuse. I refuse, bro. Like you're not gonna get another Wood Harris. You're not gonna get another Cameron. Like you not. It's just not gonna happen. So definitely Paid in Full. It's probably close to my number one answer. I'm sure there's other movies in there that'll piss me off, but that one would probably send me over if they just try to make a Paid in Full.
I like that answer. Paid in Full is also like so of its time too. Like it's so emblematic of its time, and like
Mm-hmm.
the cross section of like Cameron and Wood Harris and Mekhi Phifer like being in that movie. Like I recently rewatched it, in fact, and it's like, oh yeah, man, there's nothing like this particular time in Hollywood and hip hop coming
Mm-hmm.
together to make that movie. Paid in Full is a really good answer for me. If I had to pick one, there's a lot of examples that they haven't gone to yet, but I think if they decided to say we're gonna do Juice again, I'd be
Oh my
really
god.
pissed at that because there's an easy way in which I could see somebody saying like, "Oh, you know what? That's a DJ movie. We could totally like make that for today's
Mm-hmm.
times. Like let's really focus on DJ culture today." And I'm like, "No, no, 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 no. DJ culture today is just totally different than how it was in the early 90s,
Doesn't
especially with
work.
hip hop becoming what it was on the East Coast. And you know, Juices also has some cultural resonance and staying power because of just like the memeability of it. Like we've seen
That's true.
the Bishop memes and what Tupac is, you know, sort of represented. And I could see
Also,
somebody saying like, we want to do that, and it wouldn't work.
there is no Pac either. Like who who would be Bishop? I don't. You
No.
know what I'm saying? You just can't do it again.
Yeah,
You
no,
can't.
we
Doesn't
can't go
work.
down that territory. And it's crazy because that's probably Tupac's best performance, and he had made maybe like one or two movies before that. So, but
Yep.
I feel like somebody would try to do that. They would try to take all those different elements and say, like, yeah, let's redo Juice. And I'm like, nah, fuck that. Don't do it. So unfortunately, this movie didn't turn out how we wanted it and expected it to. And hopefully they just, you know, really try to reel this back and not maybe make many more of these remakes of these black classics that we love so much. But folks, those are all of our thoughts on White Men Can't Jump. If you've checked out this movie on Hulu, hit us up and let us know what you think.